Today's lecture is a continuation of what we were learning about the other day when we went through and we identified different types of angle relationships. So we talked about like corresponding angles and alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and consecutive interior angles. And now today what we're going to do is we're going to extend that, and we are going to look at these angles when the transversal, remember the transversal, the transversal right here cuts two parallel lines. So line J and line K, this is line J and this is line K, those two lines are parallel. So the corresponding angle postulate, and let's remember the corresponding angle postulate are when you have angles in corresponding positions. So for example, angle 2 and angle 6. This is a new stylus I just made, so hopefully I can handle using it. So angle 2 and angle 6 are corresponding angles. And this postulate says that if a transversal, hold on one sec. If the transversal cuts parallel lines, then the corresponding angles are equal. So the corresponding angles are equal, or you could think of as congruent. So if using this postulate, what this tells me is like angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. So that is a corresponding angles postulate. The alternate interior angles theorem, let's take a look. Alternate interior angles would be like angle 6 and angle 4. And this theorem is much like, I gotta change the color here. This theorem is much like the other one. Pretty much, if the transversal cuts parallel lines, so the transversal cuts parallel lines, then the alternate interior angles are congruent. So angle 4 is congruent to angle 6. That we are going to deal with are the alternate exterior angles theorem. So alternate exterior angles could be like angle 1 and angle 7. So angle 1 and angle 7, alternate exterior angles. And this theorem says that if parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then then the alternate exterior angles are congruent. So what I'm saying is like angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. All right, those two theorems and that one postulate all pretty much say the same thing, that the angles are congruent if the lines are parallel. Now the consecutive interior angles theorem is different. Remember, the consecutive interior angles are two angles inside the lines that are on the same side of the transversal. So, for example, angle 3 and angle 6. All right, if I have two interior or consecutive interior angles, and I've got the transversal cut by, or I have the transversal cutting parallel lines. So parallel lines cut by transversal, then the consecutive interior angles, CIA, are supplementary. Quickly, what does supplementary mean? Supplementary means two angles sum to 180 degrees. Okay, so what this tells me is angle 6 plus angle 3 equals 180 degrees. All right, so why do we care about this and how can we use this information? Let's take a look at some examples. So if I have this transversal cutting these parallel lines, and I know that, say, this angle right here is 75 degrees, and I want to know what this angle is, well, this 75 degrees angle and angle X are alternate exterior angles, and the alternate exterior angle theorem says that if I have a transversal that cuts through two parallel lines, then the alternate exterior angles are congruent. So therefore X equals, then that means X equals 75 degrees. Okay, well what if I have another problem, and let's say that I know, let's say that I know this angle right here, and I'm going to say this angle is 125 degrees, and I need to know, let me think here. I need to know this angle. Hold on. And I need to know this angle right here. I need to know this angle right here. Well, these two angles don't have a direct relationship. However, I know that this angle right here and this angle right here are corresponding angles, and those corresponding angles formed when the transversal cuts parallel lines are equal. So if this is 125, then that means this is 125. Looking at this, it looks like this angle X and angle 125 form a linear pair. So a linear pair, when I add them together, I get 180 degrees. So it'd be X plus 125 equals 180. I subtract 125 from both sides. And it turns out that X equals, let's see, that's 55 degrees. Okay. These problems can become more challenging and throw in even more algebra. So here I have my parallel lines again. Let's say this time I know that that this angle is X, and this angle is X plus 20. So I want to know what X is, or I want to know what this angle is, and I want to know what this angle is. Well, these are consecutive interior angles, so I know that these two angles are supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. That means I have X plus 20 equals 180. That doesn't look good. X plus X is 2X plus 20 equals 180. If I subtract 20 from both sides, I get 2X equals 160. Divide both sides by 2, and it turns out that X equals 80. So that means this angle is 80, and this angle is 80 plus 20, or 100. Let's see if 100 plus 80 is 180. That works out. So that's a brief little description about parallel lines and transversals and the angles that are formed. I will see you in class tomorrow.